Deep in the heart of Brooklyn, you'll find the neighborhood of Madison, where Bernie Sanders was born and raised. This is the building where he grew up.
He lived in a 3.5-room apartment, a very cramped apartment, with his mother, father, and older brother, Larry.
Sanders' father, Eli, was a Polish immigrant who settled in this neighborhood. Back then, it was working class and heavily Jewish. Here, he and his American-born wife, Dorothy, raised their 2 sons.
His father struggled to make a living. That shaped Bernie's thinking. You know, the 1% and the 99%. I think when Bernie was 8 years old, he identified with the 99%.
By the time he was in high school here at James Madison High, his political education really began. Still in his early teens, he started going to meetings of college Democrats with his older brother, Larry.
It is true that I brought things into the house in thoughts that he wouldn't have been getting in his schooling at that stage. But so I'm glad of that.
At Sanders High School hangs a very crowded wall of distinction. 2 famous judges, Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Judge Judy, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Carole King, Senators Chuck Schumer and Norm Coleman, and of course, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Here is Bernie Sanders' yearbook picture. He was the captain of the track team, the captain of the cross-country team, a reporter for the school newspaper, class president, and on the bottom it actually lists what their intention is post-high school, and his was to go into college.
He did go on to college, here at nearby Brooklyn College before transferring to the University of Chicago. His high school friend, Steve Slavin, was also his college roommate.
Bernie and I lived here. What we had was basically an illegal sublet. We paid, I think it was $80 a month. We lived largely on ice cream and spaghetti, and Bernie was the cook because he knew how to boil spaghetti. I didn't know how to do that.
His roommate also still remembers Sanders' thick Brooklyn accent.
It seems to me that his Brooklyn accent is much more extreme than it was when we were living together.
Back at Sanders' old apartment building, resident Mercedes Diaz tells us she became a Sanders supporter after discovering their common roots.
It's really cool that he grew up in this building. I think out of all the buildings in Brooklyn, it's really different and an honor, honestly.
Thank you all very much.
A hometown connection that clearly has some Brooklynites feeling the burn. Randy Kay, CNN, Brooklyn, New York.